Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Brigadier Ramesh. My journey with the unmanned system started in 2003 when I was sent to Israel for training by the Indian Army. And the latest milestone is a doctorate with a thesis on unmanned aircraft systems, or drones as we know. Now imagine that all of us sitting out here were listening to the beautiful Namami Gange anthem, and suddenly you find about 50 odd drones dropping bombs over our top. Possible? It may not be imaginable. We may not have imagined that right now, but who would have imagined the Parliament attack in 2001 or the Mumbai attacks in 26/11 in 2008? It's been 14 years since then. We have had no, or rather, it is 16 years. There's a gap in a major attack, and we should be prepared for something like that happening very soon. Next, please. Oh, this is present. Okay, thanks. Now, if you look at it, in Manipur, this thing had happened. What I am saying. If it had happened in Delhi, it would have caused furor, and probably the Indian drone industry, which is basically taking baby steps, would have died by now. The point what I am trying to say is that we need to be careful about what is going to come. I'll just present a few cases and rush through the slides. I'll just like to highlight few things. A very low cost drone on a warship which is the costliest of the British Empire. This is the Venezuelan president, an assassination attempt with again a low cost multi-copter which is available commercially off the shelf. Gatwick airport disruption over 2 days. Imagine the quantum of money which has been lost apart from the inconvenience cost. Spying on a nuclear plant that happened in America, one of the most advanced countries in the world. Saudi Aramco airfield, vital assets. Attack in Abu Dhabi airport. In this case, the attack did not come from inside, or it was not localized, it came from across the border, but the implication was that the UAE government had banned the use of civilian drones for a short period of time. Packed sports stadium. Now, this is an attack on a Russian military base in 2018. There was not too much of a damage. The reason being, they had adequate air defense protection. Now, a lot of us are watching the Russia-Ukraine conflict and getting away with wrong ideas, in the sense that these small FPVs or some bombs dropping here and there is changing the battlefield scenario. No. Battlefield scenario changing was what happened in 1982 in the Bekaveli operations in Lebanon, used by the Israelis. This the Russia-Ukraine conflict, there's not been much of an impact because there is a blanket air defense cover which prevents large-scale damage being done by the drones. Now, how does the counter solution work? I'll just quickly say, there are various options. But the important point to understand here is that the first and foremost step is detect. Destruction comes much later. Introduction, and you can have n number of means to destroy, but if you cannot detect, then you are defenseless. And right now, we are all sitting ducks. Now, as I was mentioning, there are various means of detection, there are various means of interdictions. You can even use stones to strike down a drone if you want to. Now, if you analyze the detection sensors, not one detection sensor is capable of covering all the aspects. So, somewhere there is a window which is open. The problem is everybody is focused on finding an umbrella cover. That means you are trying to find a solution for a military type unmanned system, where countering an unmanned system, whereas the threat is off the shelf equipment which is available off the shelf. Why should you waste 1,000 rupees for countering something which is going to cost the counter something which is costing just 10 rupees? Now, just look at our scenario. This is what happened in India, and that's a very recent. A drone was spotted flying over the Prime Minister's residence. Even the Prime Minister of India is defenseless as on today. It was, of course, spotted, and although it was not destroyed, whatever happened. Now, BSF seizing Chinese weapons across the border using rudimentary drones is happening almost on daily basis. Even as I speak, there must be something which is coming across the border. Again, if you see, there are numerous places where the attack can happen, and in view of the recent happenings in Lebanon, the threat becomes even more. What we need to understand is that across the border, there are people sitting there thinking 24/7 of doing some damage. Their only job is to do that, and therefore we also need to think on some lines. So the takeaway from here is that if you are going for an integrated system of sensors, it is going to be cost prohibitive. It is going to be very, very expensive. It is not going to be possible unless the funding is very, very high. Big companies may be able to do it, but small companies, it is beyond it. But even a startup or a small MSME is intending to do it, identify the sensor which is capable of tackling the majority of this rudimentary commercially off the shelf drones. What we require is that you should be able to acquire anybody wanting to install a counter drone system in their society or in their house, they should be able to buy it off the shelf. And unless we start thinking of this right now today, all that has been discussed in the morning about the geospatial or the agriculture and all those things, that is not going to happen. The government of India will ban the use of drones for civil applications in no time. If there is a security breach, not just in India, it can happen anywhere in the world. If a big leader is assassinated using a drone, then, and if you personally ask me, as a military man, I would say when you compare the security implications, it is not worth using drones for civil applications. That's all I have to say, and if there is any specific question, I will take on. Okay. This is what I conclude. Deny, that is the first option. Deny the use of drones for civil applications, that's the best solution. But that may not be the optimum solution because there are other considerations. Detect. Unless you are able to detect, you cannot destroy. Okay, any questions please? Or you can take, yes sir. Sir, I can't hear you.
At present, that J&K, Punjab, Rajasthan and Myanmar area, we don't have any anti-drone system with the defense.
No sir. No. Otherwise the attack in Jammu airport would not have happened.
Understood.